Welcome back. Last time we talked about where we ended up and how we got to where we were in November of 2024 for the presidential election. Where are we exactly? I think this graphic demonstrates that very well. As you can see, we had about 74 million people in this country vote for one side of the political aisle, and about 77 million vote for the other side of the aisle. We're split right down the middle, and we have been for a long time. Haven't we always had these differences? Sure we have. People have always had a differing opinion on how the country should be run. But it's a little different now. Now we're being told by celebrities, by news anchors, by educators to not have anything to do with people with opposing political opinions. That someone who votes differently than us is somehow subhuman. That you shouldn't even have Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner with family members who vote differently than you do. This is insidious, and it's a blatant attempt to rip us apart, to separate us all, to tear us down, to take power from us. And this doesn't happen in a vacuum. The reason it's occurring is because today we have professional, lifelong politicians. Politicians in this country weren't supposed to hold office their entire lives. It's supposed to be public service, get in, make some differences, get out, get back to the real world. Politicians are supposed to be administrators that handle the administrative business of the country while the rest of us get things done. But that's not the way it is today. We have people that spend their entire careers in Washington, D.C. And I'll tell you, these people, well, they're after two things: power and money. They're empty cups looking to fill themselves with power and money. That's it. Now, while I have a disdain for the American politician, if you came here looking for those deep dive conspiracy theories, talking about the intelligentsia trying to wipe out 95% of us for their own gain, I don't know who collects their garbage and cleans their houses if they wipe out all of us. If you're looking for that, it's not the place to come. And I'm not saying that conspiracy theories don't have some legitimacy. Many things are labeled conspiracy theories specifically so you won't take them seriously, and they'll look like the fodder for the tin hat crowd. But I'm not digging into those. I'm looking at the more the basic nature of the American politician, the root of our problems. And I think these people are after, as I said, power and money. And they come in several forms. One form is the politician who very well may go to Washington, D.C. with the best intentions. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to do something for my fellow American and for the country that I love. A la Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And these people really do have the best intentions in mind. They get up there and they find out, rude awakening, that Washington, D.C. is a town of favors. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. And you have to play ball to get anything done, no matter what kind of great bill you have or what kind of work you want to get done in Washington, D.C. You've got to support the opposing side just to get the backing to do what you want to do. And I think these people get up there and they get frustrated and they lose hope. They spend their time in Washington, D.C. They get no benefit of seeing what their constituency is saying. We don't write letters anymore, maybe some emails, but usually everything on the internet is what? Negative, right? So they get up there and they lose hope. They lose faith in the system, and they start looking around at their compatriots going, look at this. Joe Blow's making lots of money. I got a family to feed. You know what? Why don't I cash in? Why don't I just start making some of this cash that you get as a professional politician? And you may ask yourself, well, how much cash do you get as a politician? I've seen their salaries. It's not that great, is it? No, it isn't. But they have ways of making money. One way is insider trading. Now, very illegal for the rest of us. We would go to jail for that. You can ask Martha Stewart about that. But let's say you've got a pharmaceutical company that has a great drug coming out. It's going to revolutionize the industry. So they have to get FDA approval. They go up before the appropriate subcommittee in Congress. They get permission from the FDA. They finally get approval. Word gets leaked out before it hits the market. And guess who runs out and buys as many shares of that particular company that they can? Congressmen. For a huge profit the next day that it goes public. Any of us, again, would be in jail for this. Congress gets away with it over and over, even though it's illegal. Why? Because they're not going to turn each other in. They make money from it. There are plenty of schemes along this way that they make money like this. And you need only look at their personal wealth when they go in versus their personal wealth go out and subtract it by the salary that they would have earned in that amount of time. Okay? This, I think, is a result of people with the best intentions going in and just being defeated and losing faith. The second type of politician, these professional, lifelong politicians, they want the power. They want the power because they want the favors. They want to be in a position where they can grant government contracts to a brother-in-law or a spouse. Oh, they always claim, oh, we don't talk about work when we're at home. I had no idea his company was going to make so much money from this lucrative government deal. If you've ever been married and you hear a politician say, yeah, we don't talk about any of this at home, you know how ludicrous that line is. But these people will stay there for decades, granting family members and friends and associates these government contracts, many times no bid or a fake bid, and they get their kickback, making tremendous amounts of money at the cost of the taxpayer. You and I pay for all of this. You and I pay for it in a bloated government contract. We pay for their salaries to begin with. We pay for the work that's being accomplished. And we're the ones that pay the cost by not getting the opportunity to do this work ourselves. I'll tell you I think the third type of person who gets in there, they want the power and they want the money because they have the personality and the attitude makes them believe their own BS. They think they know the best way for everyone to live. And by God, they deserve to instruct everyone on how to live their lives. They want to wrestle that power from us. They like enacting laws and executive orders left and right, telling us how to live our lives, giving us permission to do what they deem is appropriate. They're the ones that are the worst. They get in there and they make the money. Give you a good example. You see some of these people write an autobiography. That's ghostwritten. You get an author to write your autobiography after looking at some of your notes and doing a few interviews. Then it gets published, and it's the New York Times bestseller. It's selling 7,500, 10,000 copies a week. It's an amazing runaway. Now, oddly enough, I've never seen anybody actually own one of these books or reading it. Never seen anyone on an airplane or a bus reading one of these things. Never seen anybody talking about it at a dinner party, but by God, they're bought up. Did everyone really buy that many? Well, often someone who needs a favor, someone who needs favorable legislation or policy, like a foreign national who can't give money to that candidate or politician, will say, hey, guess what? I'll buy 300,000 copies of your book. You get, $3 a piece from it. That's nearly $1 million right there in your pocket. Of course, you may be thinking, my goodness, that's $25 a piece. That's $7.5 million. What is worth paying $7.5 million for a bunch of books that are going to end up in a trash heap, a warehouse, or more likely just burned and destroyed? Well, if it gets favorable policy that, I don't know, for instance, results in a reset, allowing you to invade Crimea and take over the natural gas supply, well, that $7.5 million comes back really quickly. So you've got these three politicians, these three groups of politicians. One, who has the best intentions and goes and just gets defeated. I've seen that so many times. 2, wants the power so that they can get more and more money. And 3, the ones that want the power and the money because they lust after controlling you and enriching themselves at your detriment. How do they get there? Why are they there? Well, it's our fault. We keep electing them. We keep putting them in office. We keep putting them in a position to take advantage of us and advantage of the system. How on earth, you might ask, do we get these evil imps out of this position? Some people have suggested that term limits are the key. I'm not big on restricting freedom in the name of gaining freedom for something. I don't think that's the answer. I think the key is education. Education about ourselves. See, we don't recognize these people for who they are and what they're doing because we don't know ourselves anymore. We don't know who we are as Americans. And I think that's very important for us to explore who we are. While you're out there thinking about that, I want you to remember, as you're wandering around thinking of it, and I try to make these videos between 15 and 20 minutes long so you can listen to them while you're waiting for your food to be delivered or maybe driving to work, running errands. While you're doing that, I want you to remember that the left lane is for passing only. Thank you.